I'd like to call to order the Plan and Zoning Commission meeting of Tuesday, February 20th. All those of you in the audience, I would recommend you turn your cell phones off as it could bleed into our audio recording. We'll start by roll call for the public hearing. Roll call, please.
Connell.
Present.
Hepner's excused. Ingram.
Present.
Kelling.
Here.
Lammers present. Manus excused. Martinez.
Here.
Med.
Here.
Quinn.
Here.
Reinhardt's and Tallman excused.
Thank you. First item of business is case number REZ 18-01, request of David Meyer on behalf of Tom Swanwick, DBA Forest View LLC for a rezoning or map amendment on 1.19 acres of property known as Lot 2 of Ride High 2nd Edition, located on the south side of East 46th Street between Grand and Tremont Avenues. The rezoning is from C2 General Commercial District to R6M Planned Unit Development to construct attached townhouses on individual lots. 10 units are proposed. Wayne?
Wayne Woolley, Community Planning, Economic Development, is that on? Yes. This is the area of the rezoning. Brady Street, East 46th Street, Public Works Center, Grand and Tremont Avenues. We're on the south side of East 46th Street, adjacent to the cemeteries. It is zone C2 currently. Actually, it is unclassified for land use. That appears to be an error in the map. There's a section right in here that was left blank for some reason. Obviously, residential general is here, industrial is here. These would obviously be into the industrial category. It would make sense for either this to be some commercial or even industrial type of use, though this is being proposed for residential. We will have that later in our report. This is the concept plan that the developer has proposed. There's a shared driveway here with the credit union. This driveway will need to be moved over further to the east, but they are proposing 10 units within 3 buildings. The reason for the rezoning is that the C2, while it will allow for multiple family, which one could consider this being, they're needing to have each of the units on their separate individual lots. Once you do that, then we need the planned unit development, which is a residential classification. The densities for both the C2 and the R6M are the same. So we just figured the R6M planned unit development would be the simplest way to do this.
Thank you, Wayne. Commissioners, do you have any questions of staff at this time? Thanks, Wayne. Would the petitioner like to come forward and speak on his petition?
I'm Tom Swanwick, and I really don't have anything to say other than the fact that it's good use for the property. It's going to be 10 townhouses, great backyard with a cemetery back there. It's a great use for the property. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have on the project.
I'd like to throw out just a little tidbit. Tom did have a neighborhood meeting, and absolutely no people showed up. So
Wayne and I.
Well, Wayne, you and me.
Yeah, right.
But no neighbors.
No
so
neighbors, right, yeah.
apparently there wasn't a whole lot of interest.
No.
Commission? Yeah, apparently. Commissioners, have any questions of the petitioner? Seeing none. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Would anybody else like to speak in favor of this petition? Would anybody like to speak in opposition to the petition? Seeing none, no more questions. We'll close the public hearing on your petition. Thank you, Tom. It'll be back in front of us in a couple weeks. Well, actually, it'll be March 6th. Thanks, Tom. With no more agenda items on the public hearing. We will close the public hearing and roll call for our regular meeting, please.
Ingram.
Present.
Kelly.
Here.
Lammers, present. Manus excused. Martinez.
Here.
Med.
Here.
Quinn.
Here.
Reinhardt's Tallman excused. Connell.
Still here.
We're good.
We do have a quorum. Report of city council activity.
Nothing to report.
Thank you. Secretary's report.
Move the report.
Second.
The secretary's report's been moved and seconded as printed. All in favor, signify by aye. Opposed? Hearing none, it will move as stated. Report of comp plan committee.
We're finishing up our last minute review of the first draft of the ordinance. It should be posted online, particularly for the zoning steering committee, zoning advisory committee, before the end of the week. We'll give them about 2 to 3 weeks to review it, and then we'll be holding another steering committee. Once they get through that, we'll have the next round of public meetings, which should be sometime mid to late March.
Thank you, Matt. Commissioners, have any questions at this time? Seeing none, we will move on to zoning activity. Commissioner Connell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have one case tonight, case number FDP 18-01, request of John Crump, doing business as Woodspring Zone LLC for a, for a PDD final development plan located north of East 53rd Street and west of Elmore Avenue, Lot 1 of Lakehurst Commercial Park, 3rd Edition, on 2.28 acres MOL to develop a Woodspring Hotel. Staff recommends the Plan and Zone Commission forward case FDP 18-01 to the City Council with a recommendation for approval subject to the one listed condition, and I so move.
Second.
Case number FDP 18-01 has been moved and seconded for discussion. Ryan.
Just very briefly, Ryan Rusnak, Community Planning, Economic Development. This is a vacant lot here, commercially zoned, commercial on the future land use map. Pretty straightforward request. It's a 4-story, 123 room, proposed Woodspring Suites Hotel. This would be a rendering for it. There was just one little minor fix on this site plan, and that was the reason for the condition. The developer and engineer are here if you have any questions related to the project. But other than that, it's a pretty straightforward request.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
Commissioners, any questions at this time?
Nope.
Seeing none, roll call, please.
Kelly.
Yes.
Lammers, yes. Manus excused. Martinez.
Yes.
Med.
Yes.
Quinn.
Yes.
Reinhardt's Tallman excused. Connell.
Yes.
Hefner excused. 2, 4, 6.
And that's all I have
6
on
yeses.
zoning activity, Mr. Chair.
Backing up to that, it'll move forward with a 6-0 vote. That will close our zoning activity. We'll move on to new business in subdivision. Commissioner Connell again, please.
Case number P 18-01, preliminary plat of Reed's Retreat located west of Wisconsin Avenue, north of Telegraph Road, containing 7 lots on 62.86 acres MOL. The property is zoned both R1 Low Density Dwelling District and A1 Agricultural District. Let me find my place here. Staff recommends the City Plan and Zone Commission forward case P 18-01, the preliminary plat of Reed's Retreat, to the City Council for approval, subject to the 14 listed conditions, and I so move.
Second.
Case number P 18-01's been moved and seconded for discussion. Wayne?
Okay, this is Reed's Retreat, located basically north of Telegraph Road and west of Wisconsin Avenue in this location, basically in our west end. Blackhawk Creek is located on the south side of Telegraph Road. It has dual zoning, both A1 and R1, though there is significant area within each of the lots that is zoned R1, so it could be developed with residential uses. The residential general is the land use. This gives you an indication of where that zoning line is and how it relates to the lots. So the larger lot here, there's a significant portion in R1. The lower lot here, there's mostly all in R1. Upper lots here, they're at least a significant portion in R1, and these are all in R1. Consideration for the future of this area hasn't really been looked at with the transportation plan, except other than some of the major arterial routes through the area. So this is just kind of a sketch as to what we may see in the future as to some connectivity and putting roads through there, so then further development of those lots could occur. We do have one consideration here, just pointing this out with the preliminary plat. It is a condition with the final plat. Lot 5, I think it is, there's a significant portion that's taken up by both easements and floodplain area, which is also going to be a drainage easement. So that lot will need to be reworked a little bit so that there is buildable area, or at least good buildable area within that lot itself. So some change will need to be made there. Okay, it does conform to the comprehensive plan. With the corrections below, preliminary plat will conform to the subdivision ordinance, and the plat proposes development for our southwest area, and indicating here that these are all ordinance requirements. So they just need to make those corrections to the plat. We will probably not be carrying those forward with the subsequent approval with the council, because they're all just regular ordinance requirements.
Thank you, Wayne. Commissioners, any questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Can I ask?
Yes.
Clarify for me that last statement, that while these are ordinances, you're not going to move them forward with the recommendation to the council.
These
So
will
who
need-
oversees and follows through to, that
Well,
they get
these will
done?
need to be corrected prior to us even moving the plat to the city council.
Okay, I appreciate that, thank you.
Yes.
Any additional questions? Roll call, please.
All right. Lammers, yes. Manis, excuse. Martinez?
Yes.
Med?
Yes.
Quinn?
Yes.
Reinhardt's and Tomlin, excuse. Connell?
Yes.
Hepner, excuse. Ingram, not. Kelly?
Yes.
That'll be 6 yeses.
Thank you.
No no's.
Thank you.
I have one more case, Mr. Chair. Case number F 18-1. Final plat of Reed's Retreat, located west of Wisconsin Avenue and north of Telegraph Road, containing 7 lots on 62.8686 acres MOL. The property is zoned both R1 Low Density Dwelling District and A1 Agricultural District. Staff recommends the City Plan and Zone Commission forward case number F 18-01, the final plat of Reed's Retreat, to the City Council for approval, subject to the 9 listed conditions, and I so move.
Second.
Case number F 18-01's been moved and seconded for discussion. Wayne?
As you can see here, it's the same place or same location. Again, zoning and land use are the same. The plat basically mirrors the preliminary plat with the lot layout. Again, this is noting Lot 5 corrections that'll need to be made. Findings are very similar to what it was previous, and the recommendation is, the first 3 conditions are normal ordinance requirements. Typically, those will not move forward with the plat to the council. The remaining 6, those are conditions specific to the plat itself. And item number 5, obviously, that Lot 5 will need to be redesigned.
Thank you, Wayne. Commissioners, any questions? Scott?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is there some precedent for us to have a preliminary plat and a final plat submitted at the same time for approval or for consideration?
Yes, they can do that. Typically, when it moves to city council, the preliminary plat will need to be approved first prior to the final plat being approved. So that's the only
So it's a,
catch that goes along with it.
so it's a similar procedure there that we're following here tonight.
Yes, yes, we have done this in the past a number of times.
Okay. I guess looking at these 2 plats, I don't see any differences in them, but yet there's conditions that would come into play on the final plat, namely location of sanitary and storm sewers and all that. But you're saying that because of the ordinance requirements, we don't have to be concerned about that here in the commission?
Yeah, typically, there are specific requirements that need to have items shown on a preliminary plat. Those are different than those that need to be shown on a final plat. So we're looking more for actual, with the preliminary plat, we're looking at how everything's gonna kind of lay out and what they're proposing to do. The final plat could actually be just a small portion of that preliminary plat. In this case, it's the same thing. But the subdivision ordinance requires 2 different things that we're looking at with a preliminary and a final plat.
It just strikes me, and maybe I'm the odd man out here, as being unusual to have a final plat without some sort of a street layout, even if it's not the final thing. I mean, how do you really get a grip on that particular issue?
Well, each of the lots, and I'll point out condition number 6, that future platting of Lot 1, that's the large lot, will require submission of a new preliminary plat. And at that time, we would look at dedication of any roadways in there. At this point in time, they're each allowed 1 residence on each of those lots. So obviously, those can be as large as you want. You could have a 60-acre lot and have 1 house on it as long as it's properly zoned. In this case, we're wanting to look for that future development because it is a fairly significant large lot back here, but each of these lots has frontage on a public right-of-way. So they have access to a street which allows for a building to occur. In this case, we're actually looking at, probably in the future, someone's going to want to re-subdivide this. And at that point in time, we're going to say, okay, we put them on notice. You're going to need to start taking a look at how the street layouts are going to occur here.
Okay. One final question. It's fairly likely that some of these lots would reside in a floodplain?
Actually, technically it's not a FEMA or a National Flood Insurance Program floodplain. It is a drainage way that carries, obviously, a 100-year storm with it. And we are requiring that to be placed in the easement and that easement shown.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Commissioner Lammers?
Are you comfortable not seeing a redesign of Lot 5 for us to take action on this tonight?
Again, that's going to need to be done prior to it moving forward.
But you don't need us to see that before we make a recommendation?
Depending on if it's a significant change, it will come back to you.
Okay.
If it's just moving it, moving a lot line 50 feet this way or 40 feet this way, no, it does not need to come back to you because they've not significantly changed the plat. And we don't think it's going to significantly change. But if there is a major one where they're actually moving 3 or 4 lots around, we would probably bring that to you. We'd have to see it first.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Martinez,
Yes.
Med,
Yes.
Quinn,
Yes.
Reinhardt and Tallman are excused. Connell,
Yes.
Hepner's excused. Kelling,
Yes.
and Lammers, yes. And Manus is excused. Be 6 yeses, 0 noes.
Thank you.
That's the end of my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Connell. Looks like we have one item of future business to look at before our meeting on the 6th. Communication time. Anybody in the audience like to speak on anything? Seeing none. Move on to other business. Right now, I don't see anything. Staff, do you have anything?
No, just phone is ringing, so there'll be more to come.
Good. Good to hear. Yep.
Move to adjourn.
Yes. Hang on just a second. Commissioner Kelling has a question.
Just, Matt or Bob, when does the council entertain the Palmer College rezone?
The public hearing is tomorrow
I see.
in front of the committee of the whole. So their first reading will be a week from tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Anything else? Could I have the motion again, please?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you for your attendance. Drive home safe.